Slater, Crusaders, America's the greatest country in the world. San Diego's America's finest city. Coming up in, a week from today is really the only show that matters. Every other show is just build up to the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Radiothon. And among other things, we raise money to send our veterans home for Christmas so they can be with their families. So we're going to talk all about that, of course, next week. But just to get inspired, these last few days we've been talking to different warriors who are part of the Warrior Foundation. One of those is Lance Corporal James Moreno, who's here right now. James, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. So glad you're here. Let's go back to the beginning, man. Why did you join the Marines?
My aunt raised me. She was in the Marine Corps from 91 to 95. She raised me alongside with my parents. Whenever I was acting, out of hand for my mom and dad, she would just call my aunt.
She'd whip you in the shape that the Marine
would whip you. And my aunt, she did what every Marine is trained to do. She whipped me into shape and put me back on track and then sent me right back to my parents.
Wow, very cool, man. So you always wanted to do that? Did you always want to do that, or did an opportunity come at the right time to decide?
I loved her demeanor. I loved everything that she offered for me. She was always traveling. She was always doing things in the Marine Corps. And, she had a great time and said, if I have the opportunity, that I should go and just see the world as she did.
Yeah,
so.
Good for you, man. So how long have you been in?
6 years. Then I'm out now. Just recently got out September 29th.
Good for you, man.
Right.
Thank you. Where were you deployed during those 6 years?
I did 2 tours to Afghanistan, 2009 to now Afghanistan, and 2011 to Sangin, Afghanistan.
Okay, so 2 in Afghanistan.
Correct.
No Iraq.
No.
Okay, so 2 Afghanistan. Tell us about what happened on that most recent Afghanistan tour.
Most recently in Afghanistan, 2011, I was in Afghanistan for 3 months. I pushed out on a foot patrol. One of the patrols that we went, one of my last ones, pushed out, and we were in search for an ID. It was near the local Taliban house, the local populace house. One of the fathers came over to our compound and asking if we could go over and get rid of this ID that the Taliban inputted at night. So our mission was to go out and find this ID. Wow. We were out there for a couple hours looking for it, and then on our way back, I wanted to search this one last spot that hadn't been searched yet. So I went out there, making sure that this area was going to be clear before we pushed back in. In doing so, I stepped on the ID and found myself 5 days later in Balboa Hospital recovering. I had taken a small blast to my left foot, and since then, that happened for about a year. The injury for a year, I just had an ID blast in my left foot, multiple fractures, but after 5 surgeries, the bones didn't take. So I volunteered, or how would you word it? Often.
How so? What do you mean? You
what is it?
You opted.
Opted. Yep.
Opted or opted?
Opted.
I opted to amputate my foot.
Wow. But man, let's pause the story right there, because we got a lot of details here that I want to ask you if you can fill in. This is an incredible story. When you're in Afghanistan looking for an IED, right, what are you looking for? What are you keeping your eyes open for exactly?
There's a lot of things that go into it as well, but primarily what you're looking for, anything that doesn't resemble of common. So when you get there, you assess the terrain and you kind of get used to it. You get used to seeing all the different types of terrain that's out there.
Yep.
And so when anything is disturbed by that nature, that natural nature, those are the signs that you're looking for.
Wow.
The unturned dirt, the rock that was in one place but now it's in another. Small little details like that.
Oh man! So when you stepped on this IED, do you remember anything from that point to 5 days later at all?
I do. I do remember. I remember I stepped on it, and then I remember my guys taking me out, and then I remember being on a bird.
Wow.
And then I woke up in a hospital.
Amazing. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. So your leg, where are you? Is it just your foot amputated, or to where?
My left foot up to my calf.
Up to your calf. All right. What? Tell us about that recovery. What's that like?
When we first initially tried to save it for a year, limb salvage for a year. Again, like I said, didn't work out. But I mean, seeing my brothers that already had recently just got injured, double amputees, triple amputees, seeing them, especially single amputees, seeing them every day at the hospital, going through the recovery, walking around in prosthetics already. Yeah. I mean, it was just motivation for me to just get up on my feet and just start going like they are. So I really didn't have anything to put me back. I just had a lot of great motivation coming from my brothers who just went through this experience a couple months before me, a month before me, several months before me. Yeah. So it was exciting to see them just continue and push forward and get these amazing prosthetics that we have nowadays and start running again, climbing, swimming. I mean, you name it, our guys are doing it. And for me, that was just the most motivation, all the motivation I need to just, look myself in the mirror and tell myself that I am going to be able to walk again and run again and just push it and move forward in life.
Good for you, brother. That's awesome. Yeah. What does your aunt think about your service?
I mean, that's something you would have to ask her. I honestly don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure she's proud. How
absolutely.
Could she not? So Warrior Foundation, when was the first time you got involved with the Warrior Foundation?
July 5th is when I was first at the Balboa Hospital. I believe that November I was first introduced to the Warrior Foundation. How so? Sitting in formation at 7 in the morning, pretty upset that I had to be at formation at 7 in the morning on a Friday. But with that, they came out. Warrior Foundation presented us with a surprise, an amazing holiday surprise for us, saying, a round trip ticket anywhere you want, back home to your destination, for the holidays. And that was my first time getting introduced to the Warrior Foundation, and that was just amazing. That was an amazing Christmas present for my parents, more so than myself. I was injured, on meds, all types of other things. I was not eager to just go home, but since we had amazing people going out raising money just so I could have the that warm and comfort holiday feeling. Yeah. I mean, that was that was great.
That's great. I love how you say it's more of a gift for your parents too.
Right.
So what would have happened if you didn't receive this trip home? What would you have done instead, and your parents have done instead?
Just we would have went through the normal holidays. It would have been like if I was still on a combat deployment or any type of deployment. Just for the parents, I'm sure, and for the family and friends, it's hard on them. I really can't explain how they feel. Yep. But for me, it was really great to know and see their faces when I was home and see them smile, see the just the look in their eye that I was home safe with them. And for me, I have my own feelings about it. We lost our couple brothers out there, and so I had to deal with that. And then like be home with my family. So it was different. It's not easy. But it is a good feeling to be around your loved ones. Yeah,
good for you, man. How did it, after talking to a bunch of guys who have gone home, and one common sentiment is that it's healing in some ways. Right. So emotionally and even physically as well. How has it helped you in that regard?
Right. Again, like I said, I first originally wanted to come in the Marine Corps for, huge influence by my aunt. Being around, her, and then being around my parents. I mean, it is very healing. It reminds me that, this is the reason why I even started fighting for. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I remember now. I love family. Obviously, I have a very caring family, and I just love the brotherhood as well. It's just my aunt has taught me. It's all about the brotherhood in the Marine Corps, and I live by it.
Good for him. Awesome. Lance Corporal James Moreno. James, man, great to meet you, man. So glad for you coming in, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
So, again, Warrior Foundation Radiothon coming up 1 week from today. If we can just ask you to put a little bit of money aside right now. We're asking you to take just $5 a week is the donation we're going to ask for. So think about that, pray about that, and we'll talk about it again next week. But when you think about it, think of Lance Corporal James Moreno. Mike Slater Show, the AM 760, KFMB. Spread the word.